Hey Dom, can you hear me?
Audio okay? Can you hear me?
All good, all good. So, hi everyone, and welcome to today's ScaledOn Office Hour webinar, the Launch Playbook. We are going to share a couple of insights on how to engineer successful Amazon product launches from day 1 to month 3. Before we dive in, let's get to know each other a bit. Please drop in the chat where you're dialing in from today. We always have people joining from all over the world, so it will be great to see how wide the Amazon community reaches. There's probably a couple of seconds delay in the live stream, so we'll give some time for the attendees to tell us where they are dialing in from. So we have Emily from Vermont. Come on, don't be shy. I'm dialing from Spain, Canary Islands, by the way, and Dominic from Ireland, so pretty far away from each other. We have Emma from Maine.
Also, guys, if you're any trouble commenting, what we've noticed is you need to be signed in on YouTube to get the questions in.
Okay, perfect. So let's see what we'll be covering in these sessions. First topic will be why most Amazon launches fail, and more importantly, how to avoid those pitfalls. The account foundation and inventory planning that protect your launch from day 1. Third, and it's a very important step, keyword preparation and listing optimization to maximize the honeymoon window. How to scale smartly in weeks 5 through 12 without burning your margin. And the launch metrics that actually matter. You don't want to drown in data. And finally, some advanced strategies that we've seen move the needle for 7 and 8 figure brands that we are working with. Also, we will wrap with a Q&A session, so drop any questions in the chat. For those who are joining our Q&A session for the first time, I am Bogdan. I'm the Amazon Department Manager here at ScaledOn. And with me here is my colleague Dominic, our Senior Amazon Strategist. Between us, we spend every day inside Seller Central helping brands from lean startups to category leaders to launch and scale successfully on Amazon. And I'm just going to take 30 more seconds on us. At ScaledOn, we've been trusted by clients for over 18 years. We repeatedly helped businesses hit 7-8 figures on Amazon with our structured strategies. So here's what makes partnering with ScaledOn so exciting. We are really e-commerce entrepreneurs ourselves with our own businesses, and that's by design. We know the impact of receiving bad advice and what that means to your business. We are in the weeds daily, and that's what today's session is about, just practical and tested advice. Okay, and Amazon rewards preparation, and probably most of you already know that. So the first 30 days are everything. Brands that treat launch as a structured campaign, not just uploading a product and hoping it will stick, are the ones that are going to win. If you start weak, you'll probably spend months trying to claw back ground. Sellers who properly prepare get rewarded with visibility, and those who don't are buried fast. That's the difference between a product that becomes a bestseller and one that never gets off the ground. So with that said, let's get started. Dominic will kick us off with why most Amazon launches fail and how you can structure yours to succeed.
Super, thanks, Bogdan. So let's see it up here. Most ASINs fail because very often that first 30 days, launches can be chaotic. There's a lot of stuff to get right in the very beginning. So what we often see is sellers that, throw up 1 or 2 images, a basic title, and then choose to optimize later. So by then, the honeymoon period is gone. So, and here's the thing about this actually is that, a lot of brands know they have a good product. That's what makes, I think, the problem kind of really hurt when this arises. We've had brands come to us, say, after 12, 18 months saying, we've got this incredible product, we've tested it, the data shows it should be a success, we're selling at wholesale, retail, it works in every other channel, but we just can't get it to work on Amazon. And what's usually happened is they've baked some poor signals into Amazon's algorithm from day one. So maybe their initial conversion rate was low because the listing wasn't optimized. Maybe they ran ads without that proper keyword research in the beginning, drove irrelevant traffic. Amazon's algorithm learned from that and they didn't quite recover. So it's really about those sort of weak early signals that make it very difficult to get traction later. Now, it's not impossible to recover. Obviously, we have a playbook for turning those cases around, but I think this is the key point is even times we relaunch those products under a new ASIN, we often see better performance in those first 30, 90 days that just outstrips all of the old results. And that's really down to the honeymoon period. So it's where Amazon is basically paying extra attention and deciding how to position your product. So I think the lesson is that the launch really is everything with new products. If you do nail a structure early, you're basically setting yourself up to win. So don't wing it. You're not just losing sales. You're training Amazon to believe that the product isn't relevant. And so we can't move forward without talking, obviously, about inventory and logistics. It is the foundation. So without stock, nothing else matters. FBA units need to be in there. They need to be healthy before you start spending $1 on ads. Like we've seen launches stall because products sat in receiving. We didn't do that correct estimation at start. You need to be able to plan for those restock limits, stranded inventory, etc. And yes, keep FBM as a fallback, but not something you want to rely on. And so up next, I'm just going to talk about sort of getting that bit right. What does it take? So really when a launch goes well, it's because that prep was very thorough. So don't skip that keyword research period. Start broad, look at the category, the volumes, like what competitors are ranking for, and like where you think realistically you have a chance to win. And that means competitor research, reverse ASIN lookups, and then really go into town on the optimization. But I think too many sellers like upload with the bare minimum, and appreciate especially when you have lots of SKUs, this is an approach where, one image, basic title, basic fields that are required to go live. I think sellers will often tell themselves it's a way to get around to optimization later, but by then that critical period of the honeymoon is gone. So those first 30 days are basically your shot to prove relevance. If you miss that window, you're basically climbing uphill then the whole time. So that's why the groundwork matters. A launch with a fully optimized listing has momentum from the start. So whereas a launch without ends up kind of struggling to gain traction, and no matter how strong the product is outside of Amazon.
Yes, and here regarding the keyword research, I've seen a lot of people doing this after they launch their product on Amazon. Keyword research should be done when you are first discovering your product, when you are picking the product that you want to sell on Amazon, because search volumes will tell you the first sign if the product is going to be a good launch or not. So keyword research is very important, and it's something that needs to be done more often. It's not a thing that you do it at the beginning and forget it. You'll need to revisit the keyword research, revisit the competitors to understand who are you playing against. So it's very, very important. And for listing optimizations, launching a SKU with one image, like Dom said, you are set for losing sales on that, because Amazon algorithm always looks at your listing and tries to grade it on how well it's optimized. Always use the full 7 images. Lately, Amazon is pushing more and more information material even to agencies like us regarding the importance of having videos in the product detail pages. So don't forget about videos, even if it's just a branded video and it's not specific to each product if you are launching multiple products, but pay attention to starting and launching with a fully optimized listing rather than missing on that honeymoon period that Tom was mentioning earlier.
It's not just what the customer sees, right? It's what Amazon sees, and that is the key piece. I think one bit I was going to add in there, just even about defensive positioning as well, so that when you do launch, have those in place to keep people within your ecosystem. Cover that a bit more in ads, but I think that's also part of that initial optimization when you launch. When it comes to pricing, really the mantra here would be launch low, scale high. So pricing early is about sending those signals to Amazon, not just about, let's say, even long-term brand perception, because often we will have sellers, say, particularly with premium products, be slightly concerned about launching at a lower price than the real go-to-market price. But we're just trying to send those early conversion signals to Amazon. So even premium products should start at a really compelling value to encourage that click-through and conversion. Once you have the reviews and traction, you ladder pricing up. So
especially when it comes to Vine reviews, how many products you've seen, Dominic, on the Vine reviewers? They're saying, "Oh, it's a good product, I love it, but it's very high priced." So Vine reviewers are pretty picky, and since you need them in order to get those first reviews on the product detail page, we've seen this a lot across multiple listings, and you can double check this yourself. Go on any new launch product and make sure you look at those reviews that have the Vine badge, and you can see that most of the time Vine reviewers are complaining of the price, even if they love the product is great, it's achieving the intended purpose, but price is always something that you need to be very careful, especially when launching.
It always blows me away how picky Vine reviewers can be on the price. So I've mentioned honeymoon window quite a bit. You're probably wondering why now there's a slide on it, but really there's a good reason. It's because it ties together everything that we've actually covered up until now. So the inventory, the research, foundations, the pricing. The truth is the honeymoon only works if you have those pieces in place first, right? So it's there in a way for Amazon to test the product. You get that increased or rather outsized number of impressions as opposed to later on. So that's why it is just so key to kind of use this period and don't miss out on it. And yeah, one of the strongest tools, obviously, in this stage is Vine. So, and there's been lots of changes even within that program. It's interesting that we've helped brands successfully enroll multiple ASINs separately on child ASINs, later parenting them to consolidate the reviews and give them a really big sort of credibility lift out the gate. Now it's interesting because Amazon has announced this practice is going to stop, but we're not seeing this consistently yet. So it's a time to kind of get ahead on this. There's so many changes that Amazon kind of does roll out that I'm sure, Bogdan, you're very aware of this, where you'll have support agents or reps on the Amazon side who are not even aware of those changes until they've gone live, and sometimes some time after. So it is just kind of key to kind of keep on top of those.
Unfortunately, yes, support and even dedicated reps, sometimes it's mind-blowing how uninformed they are and unable to answer even our questions. So most of the time we need to figure out and fix any issues or roadblocks on our own rather than reaching out to Amazon support. But we do have a lot of playbooks for most of the issues that we've encountered. So we are pretty prepared with a database full of playbooks.
Do you want to touch on, Bogdan, that new tactic regarding Vine and the future sale date?
Yes, it's something that Amazon made public 2 months ago. Until now, you weren't able to get any Vine reviews until your product was launched. And with this recent change, what we can achieve is to launch a product from day one with at least 30 reviews if you are talking about a single product launch without any variations. So in order to get the reviews live from day one, you will need to send inventory ahead of time to FBA, making sure that they are receiving the inventory in a timely manner. But the most important backend attribute is the launch date. So when creating the product, you need to be very careful to set a future launch date. This way, Amazon won't make your product live sitting there in the Amazon catalog with zero inventory. And this helps you delay the start of the honeymoon period. So setting a launch date with, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks in the future allows you enough time to send an FBA inventory to be received, and the reviews, the Vine units being claimed. So you can then have a fully optimized listing with a minimum of 30 reviews in the first day of your launch. And another thing that we tested multiple times lately, Amazon told that we cannot have, or the reviews won't be summed under a parent ASIN. If you have, for example, a t-shirt that comes in 4 color variations, until now we knew for sure that we can include each child SKU in Vine, and after that parent them together. Amazon said that we won't be able to gain at the parent level more than the max number of units we enrolled as a child SKU, but we tested it a couple of times in the last 2 months and they are still summing the reviews. So still we are able to take advantage of that. We are not sure if in the future Amazon is going to implement this change and even actually remove those reviews from showing some at the parent level, but so probably it's something that we'll need to see what the future brings.
Just wanted to touch on social proof beyond Vine. Creator connections is still invite only, but it's a powerful way for established brands to launch new products. So Amazon is basically giving more of the product detail page over to these review videos. And we can kind of tell that they're likely here to stay, in the sense that they've added some dedicated sponsored product slots underneath those. So it's unlikely they'll be removing them later. And just to say, don't overlook compliant review strategies, right? Around inserts, QR codes, packaging that encourages honest feedback. That's important, but it's honest feedback. A launch basically with reviews, authentic content outpaces one without every time. And then just to touch on that, ad launch structure. Now, obviously a ton to go into here. We can't dive into it on this webinar, but just to say that obviously PPC does set the tempo. So you do want those auto campaigns running for discovery and search term from the get-go. Bringing those out into exact match campaigns for your launch keywords and sponsored brand plus defense to cover your brand. So it's one of those things to overspend, burn margin, underspend, and you kill that rank momentum. So just having that clean segmentation in your ads is what will let you see what's working. I will go back to that actually on the next slide. But in this one, I just want to cover sort of metrics that matter. So really, as Barton said earlier, there's a lot to focus on, but I think to kind of bring it back to sort of 3 individual signals: that review velocity, 2 units, reviews at a healthy pace, the organic keyword rank, so movement on 2 to 3 target terms that you're focused on at launch. But as I'll cover in the next slide, it's important as well to be malleable about that and responsive to what you're seeing when the data comes in. And then that pack loss trend, so that the actual total ad spend efficiency on those products, those sales. So this one, I just wanted to talk about an example of a launch, because not all launches go exactly as planned. In fact, most don't, but they're the ones that, if you adapt quickly when the new signals show up, you can succeed. So a good example is we once launched a product where all the prep had been done, competitor research, keyword mapping, clean structure. 3 weeks in, the data started to show something a little bit unexpected. So the auto campaigns were really surfacing terms with the word organic. It wasn't expected based on all that prep work that we had done and all the work, even with the client through the product development stage. But the numbers told a different story. So we saw strong click-through rates and really high conversions against that modifier. So that kind of told us that the market was actually responding quite well to that in a way that we didn't predict. So we pivoted. So we doubled down basically with dedicated keyword campaigns, funnel budget towards that, even towards changing some of the optimizations on that page within the product detail pages within those first 3 weeks. And that's what really kind of moved the needle there. So it's a reminder that don't lock yourself into a static launch for, let's say, those 90 days. You want to listen to that very early data within 3-4 weeks, that first 30 days, and make the adjustments. I might just jump on to traps to avoid. So again, just common pitfalls that we see. So launching half-built listings, minimal optimization, ignoring some of the stock constraints and restock limits, just betting everything on 1 or 2 keywords, not listening to the data, blind spending on the ads without that clean structure from the get-go. Having all this stuff in place will help your launch succeed. Open the Q&A.
ST the
Can you hear me, Dom?
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay, hold on.
By email, more than happy to answer any questions that you have on Amazon or more. Thanks.